Welcome back to the TW Local 591 podcast. My name is Gary Scheibel, your local president. This is our Friday Rep Call Summary podcast. Joining me today is Brian Coyne, your vice president, and Russ Dittmer, your administrative executive board member. Because of the holidays and the scheduling for the past couple of weeks, two of the Friday calls that we did were kind of short, and because of this, decided to adjust and combine the last few weeks the Friday calls into this week's podcast. So hopefully it won't be too long, and appreciate you listening to it. So Russ, you want to get us started with your support?
Sure. In the voluntary union benefits, you should have already arranged your payroll direct deposit deductions, and the first premium payment should have come out on January 9th of 2026. If you forgot or have any issues or you still didn't receive the instructions, just contact the benefits counselors at EFP at 1-844-606-0524 to have them help walk you through the process of setting up your payments and all that. Again, that's 844-606-0524. On the subject of bereavements, it's unfortunate, but we at the local don't always receive the information from the company when members or retirees pass away. Please don't assume that your local 591 peer support team or us here at Local 591 were made aware. We would rather receive a number of notes rather than not know. Please don't hesitate to reach out to your peer support team or send to info@local591.com if you hear of a member or a retiree who passes away. I'm going to walk right into compliance and ASAP, Gary. Just a quick reminder from Harry and Joe from the Local 591 ASAP compliance team. Anytime you're involved in a MIA, which is a maintenance event assessment aid, or involved in a post-incident Form 10098 investigation, it is your right to always have a union representative or shop steward in the room representing you in those meetings. It's highly recommended to always have a rep present. Also, we wanted to remind you to make sure you read what the paperwork, check, or manual is requiring you to do, accomplish that work or task, and only after that work or task is completed, sign for that work or task. There is no such thing as an unimportant or minor task on a work card or in a manual procedure. And the next topic is safety. If a piece of equipment is not serviceable, not safe, tag it out of service. When you tag a piece of equipment out of service, make sure you notify your crew chief. Then, and this should go without saying, but don't keep using the out-of-service piece of equipment. It's the company's responsibility to get that piece of equipment properly repaired before it is returned to service. If the piece of equipment has been out of service for a few days, don't hesitate to ask your crew chief to investigate what the status of the repairs is. Do not remove an active vehicle equipment out of service tag.
Alrighty, thanks, Russ. Brian, you want to handle your grievance update?
Yeah, grievance update. For the December GRB Grievance Review Board, the local presented one disciplinary case. The issue is being reviewed by the company prior to rendering their GRB decision. President Gary Scheibel will be in Miami on Monday for a local 514 arbitration case, nicknamed Dodgeball. To both support Local 514 and also ensure the discussions do not adversely impact 591 members. A reminder that Article 19 Alpha Alpha arbitration based performing line work on field trips, the briefs are due to the arbitrator by February 13th. After that, the arbitrator will have executive sessions with the arbitration panel, ultimately generate his final ruling on this case. Best guess, depending on a number of executive sessions with the arbitration panel, we should see a final decision somewhere around April, May timeframe this year. With that being said, I'll go right to the field trip update. Chris Horvath reported that he tracked for the week of December 26th, 33 line field trips and 12 base field trips. For the week of January 2nd, 34 line field trips and 9 base field trips. For the week of January 9th, 34 line field trips and 9 base field trips. For the week of January 16th, 26 line field trips, 4 base field trips. This guy's working his butt off, I'll tell you that. So, year-end 2025 field trip reports, 1,240 line field trips, 437 base field trips. Article 6K meeting field trip bypasses, agreement with aircraft out of service for more than 8 hours in unmanned stations. 6 aircraft field trip bypasses were agreed to. Year-end 2025 totals for 6K meetings, approximately 209,000 paid out to 215 members. Nice job. Average payment approximately $970 per member. Field trip hotels, always a big issue. If you have a hotel issue, please don't try to contact the hotel reservations vendor directly. All hotel issues need to go through MOC MCT. Do not hesitate to contact Chris Horvath. Doesn't matter what time that is, by the way, if you have any hotel issues or questions. Chris Horvath continues to remind the company that all the smaller stations appreciate the support to work field trips and not just a select few. Those other small stations are willing to step up and are asking the company should spread the workload and opportunities to work these field trips. That's the end of Chris's report.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Just give a quick update on smoke odor fumes. So the smoke odor fumes aerolyzer air contamination detecting tool has passed another import customs hurdle. So the company is getting closer to receiving them in our country. So stay tuned for more updates on this new tool. Let me give you a quick update on membership meetings. We did have a floor walk in the Western region in LAX due to a last minute change. So a membership meeting wasn't possible there. That said, a lot of great input, really good questions as we walked around the floor. So the next national membership meetings are scheduled in the Northeast region at LaGuardia on Wednesday, January 28th, and then the Southeast region in Miami on Thursday, February 5th. We're working on planning additional station visits as well, so please stay tuned. Russ, you want to do a GSE and facilities update?
Sure. This is really a combined GSE and facilities update for Miami. GSE Facilities E-Board member Santos Dordo reported that the ongoing lift and crane annual certification and repair work mess is continuing. Facilities certification and repair work is being currently outsourced, which is causing long delays for our GSE group when they have a lift or crane that is tagged out of service and awaiting the vendor to arrive. We continue working with to return this facilities work back in-house and have the OEM train our facilities folks on the work to get the cranes and lifts back in service much more quickly and keep that work in-house.
All right, Brian, you have an update on new hires.
New hires. In a number of cities, we're finally seeing significant numbers of new hires and transfers into tech ops, AMTs, GSE mechanics, facility mechanics, and MLS positions. These new local 591 members will be in training, and you may see them with MTS, crew chiefs, tech crew chiefs, and fellow members. Let's try to welcome them to our local and support them during this already stressful probationary or trial period. As we tell our new members, come to the union first with issues prior to management. Oftentimes, we can resolve issues and avoid a harsh discipline that management will issue if brought into the situation.
All right, one issue other issue that came up is elections. So we had 3 election nomination periods that closed on Monday, January 12th. DFW AMT Avionics Section Chairman. So we had one candidate, Kenya Hardrick, who won by acclamation. Miami AMT Avionics Section Chairman, one candidate also was Glenn Olson. So he won by acclamation. So congratulations and welcome aboard and welcome back in Glenn's case. DFW MLS at the CFC Section Chairman is a contested election. The election started Friday, January 16th and will end at 8 a.m. on Friday, January 30th. So more election notices will be coming out in the near future. Russ, you want to handle our hoodie purchase?
Sure. The last of the hoodies shipped this week to DFW. I have notified the RVP and the chairs in station with the tracking numbers so that they can start handing them out hopefully next week.
All right. And Brian is return to work.
Okay, return to work from leave of absence. Regardless of whether you are returning from a paid or unpaid leave of absence, you are better off to notify the company in advance of when you expect to return to work. The compliance process, which is a process required for returning to work to become a more and more complicated, and not only within the company. Depending on the duration and the nature of the leave of absence, the airport authority may require re-fingerprinting, re-badging, or re-background checks, and other processes. These all take a lot of time. To avoid as much lost time as possible, get to Get your return to work date to the company as far in advance as possible and arrange to get any refingerprinting, rebadging, background checks, or other required processes started well in advance. We continue to work to get this process established with the company to resolve these return to work compliance hurdles. We are informed by the association that the 2026 3% pay raise increase will be effective the first Monday in January, which was actually, we thought it'd be January 1st, but it's actually the first Monday in January. That turns out to be January 5th, 2026.
All right. Thanks for the update. And I'll give a couple other updates. All right. So there's one update that's out there right now on the Local 591 bylaw amendment to Article 9, the Local 5, that was actually submitted by myself. This proposal was unanimously supported by your Local 591 Executive Board. The board fully recognizes the significant and greater amount of work and time expectations for our 5 Local 591 coordinator positions. That would be your peer support, your ASAP compliance, and your safety. And their workload has increased dramatically since the local was first chartered. So your coordinators, much like your officers and executive board members, we are restricted from working any overtime, working any field trips, working any holidays, or actually not working the holidays, but getting holiday pay, or even working swaps to gain additional income. So the raise, as I stated in our December national meetings, is intended to right a wrong and to recognize the extraordinary number of hours that our 5 coordinators put forth for our membership. Your coordinators honestly put in far more time, not just during their regular hours, and they are not compensated for that. So their current salary for January 2026 right now for a coordinator is $866.62 a month. This proposed bylaw change, if it's affirmed by the membership, would move their salary to $1,500 a month. But ultimately, it's your choice, and the voting will start on this Monday, which is January 19th. Rolling into one last topic. We've been told by some members are coming in to work early due to the ongoing mess and increased stresses in the workplace that is the company's LMO and MyStats issues. Even more disturbing, we're being told that some members are starting work before their scheduled shift start time in order to make their numbers look good, and also not getting paid for that time. Let me be clear. You have a contract that protects your pay, and do not provide the company work without getting paid. If you're coming in work early and working for free, stop. We do not work for free. If there's more work, the company needs to hire either more workers or call in overtime. We as a union membership fought way too hard to get the solid pay and scheduling language in our contracts. If the company cannot get the information to the crew chiefs in a timely manner in a format that gives our crew chiefs the ability to get the work assigned efficiently, then their systems need to get fixed. And that does not mean coming into work early on our own time to fix the company's problems. Nor do we as unionists make deals that are outside of the contract to save the company from having to hire more crew chiefs. We're a much stronger union when we enforce the contract and not cut deals to circumvent the contract. Our job as unionists, and especially the reps, is to enforce the contract, not undermine it. Finally, for those on the receiving end of the assignments prior to the start of your shift, there are some fixes that are forthcoming in the next version of LMO that is supposed to prevent assignments from going to your iPad when you're not being paid. But until that time, and this is supported by our senior management, turn off your iPad until you're on the clock and being paid. So that's it. Anything else?
No.
All
No,
right.
Happy
well,
2026.
All right, that's our podcast for this week. As always, any thoughts, issues, suggestions for future podcasts, please send them to info@local591.com. In the meantime, we hope you all have a great week.